How we doing? My name's Joe Metzka, guitar player and vocalist based right here in St. Louis. Happy to be a part of this really great blues music scene that's happening right here in St. Louis, right here at the National Blues Museum, and we're excited to play tonight. My grandmother, my dad's mother, her family were bluegrass musicians from the East Coast and had a Coca-Cola endorsement back during the Prohibition era. So there was probably more than Coca-Cola running through the club, so to speak. But grandmother had the old 78s and 45s and all the old vinyls from classic artists, and I got to listen to that when I was little, and just was attracted to the music of people like B.B. King. I liked Nat King Cole music, Ray Charles. I love guitar, so when I first heard B.B. King, I thought, what is that? And I had to learn that music. But all that music that was invented by Black Americans, that's what I liked. That's what my ears went to. And I just spun those vinyls over and over, not knowing what I was supposed to look like or anything like that, just that I loved that music. And it really spoke to me. Later, I started playing trumpet when I was a little kid. I just wanted the loud instrument when you got into band in school. And picked up the guitar shortly after. My dad was real gracious and took me to a pawn shop. And we talked the guy down on a price, got me a nice guitar, a nice used guitar. When I was little, and I started learning to play it by ear. So I was playing music in the band, learning to sight read on trumpet and that, while then playing the guitar. Figuring it out, playing along with, trying to learn B.B. King's music, trying to play along with Chuck Berry records and whatever I could get my ears and fingers around, learning the instrument. A little bit later, I got exposed to jazz standards, which I love that that's represented well here in the Blues Museum. So Nat King Cole's music and Ray Charles's music took me into other guitar players like Wes Montgomery and some of those cats that were playing more sophisticated chords. But to me, it's still blues music. So I got into that music when I was a little bit older, late in my teens. Started singing shortly thereafter and was lucky enough to be embraced by older musicians who kind of taught me the ropes and how to play in a band, how to listen on the bandstand, how to listen to records the right way to really dig into what was being presented on those old records and do it right. So I feel really blessed to get to do all this. Got a great bunch of guys that keep taking my gigs. So we're really excited. And St. Louis is so supportive of this kind of music from top to bottom. Folks that come through town love the music. There's a lot of places to play in addition to the museum, all down through downtown St. Louis. The hockey team's been real supportive. The St. Louis Blues, they have us play at their games, and a lot of bands like us. So this town's been really, really great for this kind of music. Embraces our originals. So we're really blessed. It's a real exciting time to be a part of this music. When I was a kid, obviously it was pre-internet, any of that stuff, so you had to try and learn off the records. There was no YouTube. I would hustle and find video instruction. Sometimes Guitar Player magazine would have a little cutout of vinyl with an instructional lesson on there. Try and learn what you could. I'm left-handed, as you can see. So by the time I started learning how to play, got with some other guys, they'd look at me, what are you doing? Well, I don't know. It's just sort of how I started playing, which is a blessing now. So some of the voicings that I play are a little bit different, which is, I think, a blessing to be unique. But yeah, I remember, driving all over town trying to find the recording of something like B.B. King's Live at the Regal, or something like that, just wanting to find a recording you'd heard about from somebody telling you. Or sneaking into a club in order to hear somebody that you wanted to hear, you had to sneak in. And it was different. I think it's a blessing in that you really had to learn how to listen to pick up the riffs. I think it's a blessing because knowing how to leave space on the bandstand, learning how to play live, how to enjoy the pacing of a live show, that's stuff that I was blessed to come up doing now. And I get excited when young people today want to play an instrument. It's one thing you see the shows like The Voice and where they're showcasing singers to some extent. But when I see a young person that says, man, I want to be a bass player, that's really inspiring. So we do try to give something back at our performances, and when we see young people and young musicians, try and get them up to play with us. And the music's meant to be shared. Other musicians in town we like to share the music with. So as far as today, I think that these resources, Spotify, YouTube, they're wonderful. You can go back and find an encyclopedia of anything you want to listen to. And I do that. If I want to hear a certain thing, you're sitting around talking about, a certain performance from this certain era, you can look it up. It is a shame that, my record collection doesn't get the airplay that it once did. It's kind of sitting in the basement. But I think I'm inspired by all of it. I think it's a blessing to have learned to play when I did, to learn how to listen, to really listen listen to intonation and those things. And hopefully we can keep some of that happening for young people today that maybe don't have an opportunity to have the same kind of patience to listen to space and to let music breathe the way we were blessed to come up. I traveled a little bit when I was younger. Got to play in Bo Diddley's band. He was a treat. He was really great. I really did a lot of my playing. I was blessed to get to play with musicians who were touring musicians. Two real dear friends of mine, Chris and Glenn Brooks. Both those fellows in their late 70s now. Bass player and drummer, brothers, and they toured from the end of the 60s all the way until very recently as a touring rhythm section. So they didn't play on a record necessarily, but Ed and James would drop a record and then the studio musicians didn't want to go on the road. So guys like Chris and Glenn Brooks, we could do a tour with. So they would teach me how to travel, how to pace yourself and, when to eat before the gig, things like that, how to hang out afterwards and, how to pace your singing voice over several nights in a row so you don't fry your voice out on the road, how to listen on stage. But those guys played with all those. They played with Ed. I know they toured with George Benson. A lot of the old blues cats they toured with. I was lucky to be embraced by guys like that. This group, we play regional. We haven't traveled a lot. I'm talking to a fellow about taking us to Europe this summer. A fellow here that's actually a member of the museum wants to take us over and set us up playing around London and Italy, which would be really exciting for us to do that. But yeah, we stay so busy here in the Midwest that it's a real blessing, to get to play and have a great time and keep my guys working and they get to go home to your own beds often nice. So, but yeah, I grew up getting to travel a little bit. Some of those stories are probably better left off camera. But yeah, it's been a blessing. Young musicians, well, if you love it, because then you can't not do it. There's been times I've tried to get out of this and get a big boy job and things like that. I can't not play, so be kind to that part of yourself and let yourself be an artist. I love this music. Clearly I don't look like B.B. King. I don't even look like Eric Clapton, and that's always kind of a soundbite when you play. It's like, you don't look like what you sing like. It's this kind of thing that we have when we're out, and that's great, But I think that's it. The music I love that spoke to me, it's not necessarily what I look like. It's just what I love to do, and it's authentic. I want to sound like that, and that's what spoke to me. So, a young musician, if you love a certain kind of music and it talks to you, allow yourself to be a part of it. And I think I feel really lucky that I've been embraced, specifically by the Black Americans that invented this music, consistently, without exception, been embraced into this kind of music. And be yourself, let your experiences talk through what you do. And I've got other vocabulary, I play jazz. That comes out in what we do. I like rock and roll music, I love Eric Clapton music when I was a kid, I like Jeff Healey, the Canadian guitar player, and those kind of blues rock guys. I love that too, so being you is the best advice, trying to find your own unique voice, whatever you sound like, and live your life and find you. And I think that's going to talk through the art as much as anything else. Once again, my name's Joe Metzka, Joe Metzka Band. Happy to be here. Feel awfully blessed and grateful to be a part of the National Blues Museum right here in St. Louis, Missouri.